So Jesus is sitting at the dinner table with his disciples, and it's the last meal he'll share with them before his execution. And sitting at the table, Jesus has just told the disciples that one of them is going to betray him. Naturally, that puts a bit of a damper on the festivities, and little side conversations start breaking out among the disciples about who Jesus might be talking about. Who is the traitor? I can imagine this led to some finger pointing around the table, and unsurprisingly, an argument soon breaks out about which of the disciples is the greatest, who is the best, the most loyal, who has the highest status in Jesus' eyes. We read about this argument and Jesus' response to it in Luke 22:24-30. A dispute also arose among the disciples as to which of them was to be regarded as the greatest. But Jesus said to them, "The kings of the Gentiles lord it over them, and those in authority over them are called benefactors. But not so with you. Rather, the greatest among you must become like the youngest, and the leader like one who serves. For who is greater, the one who is at the table or the one who serves? Is it not the one at the table? But I am among you as one who serves. You are those who have stood by me in my trials, and I confer on you, just as my Father has conferred on me, a kingdom, so that you may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom, and you will sit on thrones judging the 12 tribes of Israel." So the disciples are caught up in the game of fighting for status. Each of them wants to feel like they're the best, the most important, Jesus' favorite. But Jesus cuts through the disciples' bickering to inform them that they are completely missing the point of everything Jesus has taught them. You see, Jesus isn't interested in playing that same old status game along with all the other important people. Jesus isn't here to fight anybody for power or privilege. That isn't how King Jesus ushers in the kingdom of God. Instead, Jesus has come among humanity as a humble servant. This is how Jesus will come into his throne as King of all creation, by living as a humble servant, even to the point of a humiliating execution on a Roman cross. And so Jesus calls these disciples and anyone else who would follow him to give up the quest for power and status. That way of life has only ever led to violence and destruction. So Jesus invites us instead to follow him in a life of humility and service to others. He invites us to stop looking for whatever power and privileges we can take for ourselves, and instead to open our arms to the world, looking for ways that we can give and serve. And of course, Jesus doesn't promise that this kind of life will be easy. Remember, this kind of life is about to lead Jesus into suffering, humiliation, and death. But what he does promise is that on the other side of that suffering, we will experience the life of the kingdom of God, the kind of life that God has always intended for us. And this gets to the paradox at the heart of Jesus' life and teaching. Like he says earlier in the Gospel of Luke, those who want to save their life will lose it, but those who lose their life for my sake will find it. As we continue our journey through Holy Week, let us each examine ourselves and ask where we are still clinging to the pursuit of power and privilege. Where in our lives are we still jockeying for position or trying desperately to reach the top? And what harm are we bringing upon ourselves and on our neighbors in that pursuit? And what might it look like for us to lay down that struggle for greatness and to take up instead the life of humble service that Jesus invites us into? And do we really trust Jesus when he says that this is the way that truly leads to life? For St. Andrew's Omaha, this is Jake Weiss. God bless you.